Hello, welcome to our subject Techno apps. So this is our 7th week for this subject. Again, I'm your teacher, Shalome W. Pareha. Our topic for this week is all about liquid crystal display or LCD and electronic billboard. Liquid crystal display or LCD is a simple screen that uses the light modulating properties of liquid crystals. It can display commands, information, and your sensor reading. Numerous devices and gadgets uses LCD screen. Devices such as digital watch, game consoles, portable computers, electronic billboards, and smartphones. LCDs are very common because they offer some real advantages over other display technologies. It consumes lesser power than LED and gas displays because they work on a principle of blocking light rather than emitting it. LCD pins diagram. A 16-pin male header is attached to LCD. Pin 1 is the closest to the corner of the LCD. Pin 16 is the pin near the center of the LCD. Pin 1 is connected to the ground. Pin 2 is connected to 5 volts. Pin 3 is the output for potentiometer to adjust contrast. Pin 4 lets you choose between sending commands or characters to the LCD. Pin 5 lets you select between giving instruction to the LCD and reading information from the LCD. Pin 6, light switch of the LCD. Pin 7 to 10, light switch of the LCD. Pin 11 is any digital pin. Pin 12 up to Pin 14 is also any digital pin. Next is Pin 15. This is the backlight, and also with Pin 16, which is also connected to the ground pin, is also the backlight. Library. Libraries are compilation of code that makes it easy for you to program sketches with extra functionality. Files includes in library are written C programming. To use a built-in library in Sketch, simply go to Sketch menu and choose Import Library and select from the libraries available. To install new library into your Arduino IDE, you can use Library Manager, available from IDE version 1.6.2 and up, or you can install it by dragging the download library to the library folder of your Arduino IDE. Liquid Crystal Library. The LCD has a chip built that allows to control liquid crystals that make up the display. The library works with either 4 or 8-bit mode. To communicate with this chip, you need to use Liquid Crystal Library. Liquid Crystal creates variable liquid crystal and works using 4 or 8 data lines. This library can be used with different LCD size. Here is a sample sketch that will help us to understand what is liquid crystal library is. So for the example, it has an include or liquid crystal.h is used to initialize the library you are using or including. Without this function, none of the commands inside the library will work. The angle brackets means it will look into the library directory. Liquid Crystal LCD 12, 11, 5, 4, 3, and 2 creates of type liquid crystal. In this sample, in the sketch, we use LCD as the name of our variable. Shown are the variable names for the following liquid crystals. Also, we have LCD.begin, which includes pin 16 and 2. It is used to specify the dimension of the LCD that you are using. This function must be called before any other liquid crystal library commands. Syntax for this function is LCD.begin or columns and rows, where columns are the numbers of columns that displays has and rows are the number of rows that the displays has. LCD.clear is used to clear the old data on LCD screen and position the cursor in the upper left corner for the default mode. LCD.print used to display a message on the LCD data, or message can be character, byte, integer, long, or string. LCD set cursor used to move the invisible cursor to any location on the LCD before sending the data. Counting always starts from 0, so the top line is 0 and the bottom line is 1. Column runs from 0 on the left side to 15 on the right side. In the program, we'll set the invisible cursor to form column of the second line to row 2. LCD prints is used to print the number of seconds in millis. Here are other useful liquid crystal library codes. We have home. It is used to position the cursor in its default position. Cursor blink display is used to control device behavior during standby. Scroll display left and scroll display right, used to move the display one space to the left or to the right. Auto scroll is a function that automatically scrolls incoming text-based or text dimensions. Left to right and right to left is used to control text direction. Note, for complete set of syntax, just go to arduino.cc/n reference liquid crystal. Now, let's talk about, sorry for that. Let's move on. Now, let's talk about electronic billboards. On this lesson, we're going to learn how to make an interactive billboard using an LCD screen. We all know that billboards are prevalent in public places such as highways, bus stops, malls, schools, train stations, and are usually used for advertising and public information announcement purposes. Some of them are classified as electronic billboards in the form of large LCD or LED screens that can display digital advertisements or announcements just like the television. They are now widely used since they are very flexible, as it can display multiple ads in one location. Our activity for today is to develop a mini electronic billboard using Arduino board and small LCD screen. The LCD screen supply has 16 columns and 2 rows, for a total of 32 characters. Our objective is to display our own announcement in the LCD screen. And so for that, for our activity, we are going to need the following materials. Of course, we need Arduino Uno, one Arduino Uno, and one breadboard. The other materials are 220 resistor and an LCD screen. Here is our electronic billboard breadboard view for our circuit, and also we have here our schematic view or our schematic diagram. So, the data pins that are used to send the character to the LCD screen. The RS pin determines where the characters will appear on the screen. The RW pin is the red and white pin that enables the screen to be read or write mode. So, we have the following steps that we are going to do. So, connect the 5-volt supplies and ground to the power buses of your breadboard. We are going to connect LED pin 15 to the supply and LED pin to pin 16 to ground in series with 220 ohm resistor. We have to wire our 5-volt supply to VDD pin 2 and VSS pin 1 to the ground as well. Next, we're going to connect pin 3 to the Arduino's pin 9. Then, it will allow to change the contrast of the screen. Then, we're going to connect the following pin 11 to the board's digital pin 5, and then the board's digital pin 4 to pin 13 to the board's digital pin 3 and pin 14. Lastly, we need to connect pin 5 to the ground and pin 4 to the digital pin 12 in the Arduino will enable us to write the LCD, and finally pin 3 to digital pin 11. So after connecting all our wires and out to our LCD screen, we are going to have our code. So this is the first part of our code. So at the start of the code, you will need to import the liquids crystal library and initialize it. To initialize it, you need to specify the pins, and it will be using to you need to initialize the pins that it will use to communicate. After initialization, you need to create some constants like screen width and height. The text that will be displayed in the LCD screen will be also inputted as string characters. So with that, this is the second part of the programs. So in the loop function, you will command the LCD to print line 1 string, for example, welcome to Manila in the first row, and line 2 strings, Philippines in the second row. This is done by using the LCD.print command. The manner of display is dictated by the if-else function. You will be able to see your first row text scrolling from left to right and the second row to be displayed after the scroll action has been initiated. So, if you have any more questions or clarifications about our topic, you can ask your teachers, and if there is none, we will proceed to answering our objective test and performance test. After our performance test and objective test, you can send your questions, clarifications, or suggestions on how we can improve our lessons to my email, my contact number, Facebook account, and MS Teams account. Always remember to stay safe and happy learning to everyone.